All right, after 6 seasons, I finally figured out how to sit in front of the microphone and talk directly to the camera. This is an episode that I've never done anything like, and it's to honor a man who I know if he was still with us, he would have joined me in the studio. He was my neighbor for a number of years. We lived next to each other when he moved from Hollywood and Los Angeles after his wife passed, and he wanted to be closer to his family. His name is Lamont Dozier, and this is him. You may not know who he is specifically if you're not into Motown music or if you don't know the classics, but
Whenever I'm with him, something inside the burning.
he is a Grammy Award-winning songwriter. He's a Academy Award nominated. He has well over 100 top 10 songs on the Billboard charts. He was inducted to the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rolling Stone named him one of the top 100 greatest songwriters of all time. Lamont Dozier is an amazing person, but I remember meeting him. He was moving in. It was him and his family, and I went out to say hello. I said, "Hi, my name's Atlas." He's like, "I'm Lamont. Nice to meet you." And he was wearing this shirt that said Lamont Dozier on it. And it's just something special about this man, you know? So I took it in for what it was. And I said, well, it's really nice to meet you. If you need any help, let me know. And he said, yeah, I'll do that. And he walked in the house, and I said to his son, I said, I've worked for a Lamont before, and he was an amazing man. He goes, yeah, nothing like this Lamont. This guy is a legend. And it was at that moment that I knew I had met somebody great. Because anytime somebody's son talks that well about their dad, that man has done something amazing. I hope my parents know that I love them. I'm very proud of both my parents. They raised me to be a good man, and I really hope my kids talk well about me like that behind my back. That's really the mark of a true legend, and that's who Lamont was. So I wanted to share. I found the notes that I had taken after meeting with him a couple times. I wanted to share some of those things because even though he can't be with us, I want to give you some of the lessons that he taught me. Just sitting down with him, I brought over my books, and he gave me one of his. And inside this book cover, he signed it to me. It says, "To Atlas, may the best in life be yours always. The best always." Lamont Dozier. This goes right next to some testimonials. Just Stevie Wonder saying, "Thank you for writing the songs I love." And Eric Clapton saying, he's been my hero for many, many years. He wrote so many fantastic songs. There's the song list. I got to give you some of these because you might know them. "Baby, I Need Your Lovin'." "I Can't Help Myself." "Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch." Is that the rest of that? "It's the Same Old Song." "Nowhere to Run." Man, I almost want to start singing this song because it's that good. "You Keep Me Hanging On." "Reach Out, I'll Be There." "How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You." Of course, the song that I'm going to talk about later in this episode is "Stop in the Name of Love." But in this book, he has pictures from his time growing up to when he started producing music to his Hollywood Walk of Fame, where you can see his name in the stars here. I took a picture of this and sent it to him when he was still alive, and he got a kick out of that. But the man's a class act. Up until the day he passed, he was talking about music. It was in him. He puts in his book that Music, it was like oxygen to him. And what he told me was music is like life. It just is part of him. Everything that he did encompassed music. And that, to me, signals the virtue of somebody who knows what their purpose is in life. I wish a lot of people could figure that out. But I'm going to jump right into these notes now. He said to me, he said, don't overanalyze. As a creator, I would say, I would ask him, how did you get so creative? And he'd say, well, I would produce something and I would get it out there. He said, there's no such thing as perfection. There's only the ability to make things better and better. So whenever he would write a song, he would take it and he would put it into perspective, um, into a studio. And then other people who had other talents would come and add to that song. And he called it embellishing. They would embellish the song, make it a little bit better. If you think about that as a life concept, how are you doing that now? If you know what you're good at, then you can find other people that'll come alongside with you and join your band, if you will. If you're good at singing, then they could be the guitar player, they could be the drums, they could be a bass or keyboard. They could be the person behind the board, making sure all of it goes together correctly. There's a lot of things going on in life that people they miss because they have these phones in their hands. They're looking in here instead of out here. They're paying attention to things that they can't even remember one day later, sometimes an hour later. Tell me, do you know what you looked at yesterday? Do you know what's in the news? He bridges that together with your network. He says it in a lot of different ways, but he told me that um, you know, music like life is about knowing what you do best and then placing those around you that know what they do best so that you all complement each other. That's networking 101, man. If you aren't paying attention to who is around you, then you're missing out. If you hang around five criminals, you're going to be the sixth. If you hang around six billionaires, you're going to be the seventh. Those people around you affect who you are and how you show up. I just had a guest on the show. His name is Randy Hill. He'll actually be on probably in a week or two. We'll put that show out there. But we talked about a reticulator activating system. And what that is it's the ability for the brain to recognize what's important to the individual. So it's a cognitive awareness. Uh, People like Tony Robbins have talked about it, Gary Vaynerchuk. These people are all huge names because they get it. And Lamont Dozier was one of those people who got it. He would take the idea as it came. What he told me was uh, these birds, man. In the morning, he would open up his window and he would hear birds and they would be chirping and making noise and they would give him something. Birds would give him something. You got to remember, like, if you have an ear to hear, you're going to hear something in everything. The melody of birds is going to give you something extremely powerful. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it forever. Lamont had a bunch of notebooks around his house. He would write down ideas and songs, and he would make sure that all of them were getting put on paper. This is a practice that I've seen before, but I wanted to emphasize it here. Because if you take something that's imaginary out of your head and you put it into paper form, like I have on this paper, and many like it, then you're taking something that doesn't exist in the real world and making it exist on paper. And when you make it exist on paper, you're going to rewire your reticulator activating system. Your body's then going to start processing things. You're going to start to notice things like birds chirping, because birds have a melody. Birds communicate with each other. Birds are beautiful. And that's why there's bird watchers. And in this case, there's bird listeners. Birds belong to no one. Everything around you belongs to no one. What are you doing with it? You got to calm down your busy mind and focus on things in order to grasp the reality that everything is amazing if you let it be, and everything can be devastating if you let it be. So control what you can control. All right. Another thing he taught me is to be flexible. He said, you're never going to have a perfect product, so just let it go. But also let other people make their changes. Let them do things. Change yourself sometimes to make things happen. It's amazing that the Air Force has the same value. We call it semper gumby, and that's just being flexible. Flexibility is the key to air power, is an Air Force saying. They say that all the time. And what happens is we don't know what's going to happen. So you have to go with it. You have to make things work out. And if you are going to sit there and complain about everything, is that really working things out, or is it working things in? You have to make sure that you're flexible and that you can roll with the punches, or you're going to get punched. And that's just a fact. He said, don't take something that belongs to someone else unless you have their permission. This is crazy in the music industry. It has been for a long time. If you're old like me, you remember a thing called Napster, and that was when everyone was sharing everyone else's music for free. And I think it was Metallica that shut it down. I'm pretty sure it was Metallica. Metallica was like, nope, we want to get paid for music. You can't do this anymore. But everyone was going on the dark web using BitTorrents. If you've used a BitTorrent, you've been on the dark web, by the way. So, spoiler alert. And they were sharing everyone's data. I mean, everyone was taking everything else. In this case, Lamont was talking about sharing of music. Don't take someone else's music without asking them first. There's a lot of musicians that do that. You know, the Metallica, Megadeth thing, or James Chastain. It's not James Chastain. It's Dave Mustaine. It talks about how Metallica has been taking music, and he said, listen to this, listen to that, because he was kicked out of Metallica. But I mean, there's good music. Megadeth and Metallica are both good music, but Megadeth will never beat Metallica because they have their own thing. He talks about it in music, but it's the same thing in life. Don't take somebody's social media post and repost it. How many memes have you seen that have probably been screenshot and shared 50 to 1,000,000 times? It's amazing how many people just take the lazy route, and there will always be no reward there. Even if you get a lot of views, you're only going to get them once. Even if you get the people to comment on comments that they shouldn't be thinking, is it really bringing any value? Are you going to continuously be able to repeat that process to where you can serve a community that you built that you're going to lose? Don't steal stuff. Should be a basic lesson. But he learned it in his childhood. He talks about how he learned that lesson and how he never did it, and then he became a champion by not stealing anybody else's stuff. So you can too. There's a lot of things out there that are just for you. Find them and go after it. All right. The last thing that I'll share with you is be consumed. I had to sit there in the moment and read that again, because every time I read it, it hits me. As a man, I'm consumed with what I do. Right now, it's podcasting. I'm consumed with getting the best guest. I'm consumed with getting the best ideas. I'm consumed with getting the best clips. I'm consumed with taking something that a lot of people won't have the opportunity to do and give it to the world forever. These champions that I bring on, these world champions, these world record holders, these celebrities, these best-selling authors, these people that have mastered their craft. You can't get into the room with them because they're busy. Yet because I have a show and I've consumed myself with it, they see the value of stepping in one of my studios, sitting behind one of the mics and telling me exactly the playbook that they use to overcome the adversity, to win the whatevers, to become the pro athletes that they are, to win the parts and to be known by the world and be loved by the world. The problem with consumption is if you're totally consumed without a break, you're going to be consumed. The Bible says the Sabbath is the day you're supposed to rest. You are supposed to take a rest. What that looks like to you may be different. But when you're not resting on that day that you have prescribed as your rest day, you better be consumed. Because other people will pass you up and get the value that you're trying to give to the world out before you. You don't have to be the best, you just have to be the best known. Grant Cardone says that, and I fully believe that concept. There's a lot of people who are better than me that you will never see because they are not as consumed as I am. So to be a great at anything you do, you must be consumed, but don't get consumed. Thanks, Lamont. He's a great husband to his late wife. He talked about her. He was divorced, so he had that process that a lot of us have gone through. His kids love him. His grandkids absolutely love him. I aspire to be a man like that one day, and I hope you do too. So if you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy these conversations, I hope you're sharing whatever it is that you're getting with other people. I charge you to listen to episodes like this with a notebook. Don't just listen to them and let that go. Let whatever lesson that you collected go. Write it down so that you can capture your own lessons. Use this podcast as a way to produce results in your life. It's absolutely free. I do have a paid thing that you can get into. If you're interested in that, you can message. We'll put a link in the show notes. If you can message me, and I will absolutely help you. But this right here is free, and people sleep on it all the time. The ability to have these type of people who get paid $10,000, $100,000, $200,000 to show up. The ability to come onto my platform and pull them up and actually listen to their lessons for free is an amazing resource that you shouldn't let go. And just like the birds that Lamont talks about in his book and what he talked about with me, emphasized that was there. Just like that, you have to pay attention. So pay attention. I don't know who the next Lamont Dozier is going to be. Maybe you. But if you're paying attention and you're taking notes and you're taking advantage of all the situations that you find yourself in, I guarantee you that you're going to win more in life. And you can do it. So until next time, I need you to aim for excellence and stay on target. I'm Atlas Aultman. Goodbye.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.
Entrepreneurs, you're wasting money. Are you paying for TV, radio, maybe even newspapers? I gotta tell you, that's all dead. What's new? Well, I'm glad you asked, Atlas. It's podcasting. Just so happens I have a very successful podcast that I can put you on. And we're looking for guests. So if you have a product or service that will help people, hit us up. Atlas Aultman Targeted Podcast. We bring new audiences to new people, and we bring new people to, well, you. Check us out. All right, so I promised a story, and I will deliver. Lamont told me more to the story that you can read in the book, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you. He said that when he was going through his divorce, he was in a no-tell motel. So he had met a woman and taken her back to this place. And in the morning, his girlfriend came out. She's knocking on the door. Lamont, I know you're in there. Open up. And he's like, oh, no. So he looks at this other girl. He's like, you got to leave. She will hurt you. And so after she gathers her stuff and he's trying to push her out, just like the movie, you can see this being part of a movie if they ever do a movie on him. And pushes her out the back bathroom window, and she's out the back. And he turns around and he goes to the door and he's rubbing his eyes and he's like, hey, baby. And she's like, don't hey, baby me. And she starts giving it to him. Like, what are you doing? I know she's in here. Where is she? I caught you. And he's like, stop. Just stop. And she's like, no, I'm not going to stop. And she starts going crazy. Where is she? And he goes, just stop in the name of love. And he's like, he hits him. Before he breaks something. And she's like, Lamont, I don't have time for this. You know, I know you cheated on me. Where is she? And he's like, oh, baby, hold on. This is good. This is good. Stop in the name of love before you break something. He said, I got to go. And he immediately grabbed all of his stuff, went back to the studio, worked on it all day, called some people, and then that became the song. Stop in the name of love before you break my... There you go. So that whole song was put together based off of a situation that he never would have been in had he not gone through that hard time and then put himself in that hard situation. I'm pretty sure that relationship didn't last, but yeah, I figured I'd tell you that story. Now let's get back to his lessons.
Whenever I'm with